What's up, Undisputed listeners? It's your boy, Shay Sharp. I've got great news. I'm a finalist for a Shorty Award. Go vote for your boy and make sure I bring this award home. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for making Club Shay a success.
Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning on this Friday. How are you guys?
Good morning. Good morning. Go. He back in MVP league.
I have a whole lot to say about that, and I'm going to save it for just a few minutes from now.
You got to stop this, man. This is ridiculous, man. It's getting out of hand.
Save it, yes.
Ridiculous.
The GOAT had plenty to
stealing my
say
style.
about MVP, about maybe some other MVPs he thinks he should have won. We're going to get to LeBron, I promise you that. But we begin with more news, guys, surrounding Deshaun Watson today. So here's the current situation. Yesterday, the third civil lawsuit against Deshaun Watson was filed, alleging sexual misconduct during massages. Attorney Tony Busby posted on his Instagram later in the day that he is representing 9 total women who will bring cases against the Houston quarterback. And according to a report yesterday, the accusations have still not deterred teams that were interested in trading for the quarterback if the Texans are willing to make the deal. So, Shannon, are you surprised that the teams interested in Deshaun really aren't backing off at this point?
I'm really not that surprised, Skip. I think right now, what the teams are monitoring it, they're looking at it and they says, hold on, this is a civil matter, not a criminal matter. There have been no formal charges brought forth against Deshaun Watson. And I'm not saying that the civil matters that are not of grave importance, because they are. So they're to be taken seriously. But I think the teams are and I'm sure Deshaun representative are keeping the teams abreast as much as he possibly can without divulging too much information about the status of the cases.
Yep.
And so, but for me, Skip, all this coming forward, and the way I look at it, one case is too many. And now it looks like we have 5, 6, maybe even up to 9. That's not a good look. But I want each case to be judged on its merits. Now, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to establish a pattern of behavior here with Deshaun. This is what he does. He invites these women over to say, under the guise of getting a massage. And once they get over there, it morphs into something else. That's what they're trying to establish here, Skip. I'm not a lawyer, but I've watched enough, and I did take some classes in college to understand what you try to do, establish a pattern of behavior. This is how he reacts. Now, I read the third lawsuit, and it was like he started on his stomach. He flipped over midway through the session, which is normal, and he asked, for to massage his groin, and he's like, "Oh, I need you to get a little deeper in there." And when she became uncomfortable, he's like, "Okay, fine, it's done." So I don't, like I said, Skip. There's a lot of things that I don't understand.
Well, it went farther than that. And the third one?
Well,
yeah.
one, and the third one that we're going to see now, that would cause some alarm, because because it's leading. He forced me to do something I didn't want to do.
Yes,
that's going to have to be judged, and we'll see. When it's all said and done, even if he's exonerated of every single one, he still can't get his good reputation back, Skip, because this is what they've done. And I would prefer, and the lawyer, Skip, if you worth anything, if you worth any grain of salt, you representing clients, you start out by putting it on IG. Is that the way you handle it? You don't just, send something to the individual and say, okay, you're representative, let's try to handle this behind the scene. I get it, Skip. I get, in these cases, a lot of times you try to shame the person into settling. And Deshaun says, I'm not going to do it. Deshaun basically says, I will spend whatever I make, whatever I have, I will spend that to clear my good name. So, Skip, I understand that they're saying there might be as many as 9 cases. I'm willing to wait and let the court system adjudicate, have the ladies, because they deserve that, Skip. They deserve to have their day, as does Deshaun. So I'm not going to jump and say, okay, with this many, he's got to be guilty. Let's see what happens, and then we'll move from there. But I am not surprised, because I believe, Skip, now, if anything were criminal, now it still might. Now, the DA said, I haven't received anything, but the lawyer says he sent the package over to the police and they're going to turn it over to the proper authorities. Okay, but the DA says I haven't received anything as of yet. I believe because it's a civil matter, civil is normally between 2 people, no no criminal investigation, although it might lead to that. I think this is why we're in the holding pattern. But teams are looking at it like, well, that is Deshaun Watson, and we'll see. But the NFL is monitoring this also very, very closely.
They are now officially investigating it. And by the way, speaking of that celebrity lawyer in Houston, Tony Busby, he did post on his Instagram account page, which is troubling to me because we've never seen this before, but he did post a letter that he received yesterday from Lisa Friel, who heads up that investigative arm of the NFL, asking to talk to all of his clients, to interview all of his clients. And he posted it, then he took it down.
You see what he's doing. You see what he's about, Skip. So you see what he's doing. Now, why would you even post that?
I don't love it because it's not...
I see where he's trying to go with this.
It's
not to say
the
it's
way
not true.
Attorneys should operate.
Thank you.
Under this type of a circumstance.
Correct.
Okay, before I get into the specifics of this, allow me to say, as you well know, I am the biggest Deshaun Watson fan as a quarterback.
Yes.
And to my knowledge, from a distance, I knew of no baggage.
Right.
I knew of no stains on his reputation whatsoever. Not even mentions of any sort of impropriety.
Correct.
And Shannon, I am shaken and perplexed by all of the above because the evidence is starting to mount against Deshaun. And as the third lawsuit restated, these women are trying to establish, this, I'm going to read the quote, Watson's behavior is part of a disturbing pattern of preying on vulnerable women. So now we're back to the reports as of late last night that all of the teams very interested in Deshaun because who's not, right? I mean, come on now. As I keep telling you and you agree, in the history of this league, we have never had a quarterback this young and this proven, this talented, be potentially available to the highest bidder. We've never had this. There's never been anything like this. This is a life-changing quarterback on the field. Unless he has, in truth, actually a troubling pattern of behavior off the field.
Correct.
So I must admit, I was shocked and borderline appalled that teams weren't at least backing up, if they're not backing off, their interest in Deshaun. And by the reports that I heard late last night, most of those teams are not backing off. Now, to your point, are they waiting and seeing just a little bit here? Because the third lawsuit is obviously even more troubling.
Probably the most troubling of the previous two.
Okay, and I'm just going to mention this one time because it's in the lead of every story that you call up on Deshaun Watson. The third lawsuit is accusing him of allegedly forcing this massage therapist to have oral sex with him. I'm going to just say it one time, and forgive me for being so graphic in the detail, but I think it's very necessary to get that out there one time just to show just how deeply serious this is. So we're starting to get, if it's up to 9 now, according to the attorney, we're starting to get a body of evidence against Deshaun. That really makes me back off and say, well, time out, because you and I discussed it the first day, and we had one suit against him. And it was certainly troubling, but it would come down to he said versus she said. And now we're to he said versus she, and she said. We're starting to grow on the she said side. To your point, no criminal charges, yet this attorney, Tony Busby, says that he's now sending a package of information to the Houston police to have them look into it. I don't know where that will go. I have no idea. Some of these cases are about a year old, and others are not. At the very least, if Lisa Friel and company are looking into this, Deshaun is at high risk of being suspended. I think we would agree with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is now you're headed down to the Zeke road. Even though Zeke,
Yes.
I mean, even though the lady that talked to the victim, the alleged victim, says, no, we recommend nothing happened. Nothing happened here. But the NFL said something did happen. And that lady is no longer in her role. And they trumped it.
Remember, Zeke went to court.
Yes.
And won the first round.
Yes.
And then lost the second round because it's hard to fight the City Hall that is the National Football League. And it took much of that 2017 season, much of it passed without him being suspended. And finally, we got to remember Cowboys at Atlanta.
Right.
And all of a sudden, boom, it's gone for 6 games.
He's gone for 6 games. And you remember, Jerry Jones was willing to blow up the entire establishment to prove that my guy deserves to play. He was really trying to get a coup to overthrow Roger Goodell.
He was. And remember, reportedly, he confronted Lisa Friel at a league meeting and said, Lisa, there's nothing there. Right. Remember that?
It said, you go get us, you killing the golden goose, you gonna get us all thrown out on our tails.
That is what.
That's what Jerry said.
Okay, so now we know that Deshaun is taking this so seriously that he hired another celebrity attorney in a different vein, Rusty Hardin, who has represented many, many athletes, starting with Roger Clemens, Adrian Peterson, Michael Bennett. We can go down the list. It's a long list of athletes he has successfully represented.
And big corporations, ExxonMobil, Dow Jones, Arthur Anderson. Skip, you don't build up the reputation he got. You go get him.
He is in the Johnny Cochran league.
Absolutely, yes.
Of representation. So Rusty told ESPN on the first night, just hours after he'd been hired, I'm real comfortable with the kind of person that Deshaun Watson is. He has a great reputation here in the Houston area, and the allegations are really inconsistent with the kind of person he is. At a glance, I would agree. But now we see the pattern emerging. Is it possible there was another Deshaun that we just did not know?
We didn't know. It's
possible. And yet, I want to reiterate on both our parts, we have no idea.
Right.
All we know is we're reacting to lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. And we await up to maybe 9 lawsuits because he's come through with 3. And he has posted some of the texts that he has in his possession from Deshaun to these women.
Yeah, but Skip, I mean, talking about, massage by glutes.
It was not that incriminating to me, what I saw. But he did apologize to the woman who filed the first lawsuit because she felt threatened by his behavior. And after he left, he did text her, and that got posted last night. And he says he has many more texts that he will share, unfortunately, on Instagram with the world in the days to come. So, in the end, if I'm a team wildly interested in Deshaun Watson, I at least say, hold our horses here. Let's just back off, and we're going to have to slow this down and delay our interest because these are all just, there are too many red flags, and it's too concerning. And to your point, the reputation is stained, and it's no matter where this goes, it's just he's going to have to carry
people will look at him differently, Skip. And I think what happens now is that you're gonna have to spend a lot of money for this because you're gonna have to call women masseuse and says, okay, what's standard procedure? When you have a male client come in, how do you tell him to dress to his level of comfort? Are they always naked? Do this happen? Do you massage the groin areas? Do you turn it? So all this is going to come in. You bring male massage therapists in, and you ask them all this, Skip. So you're going to have to try a cavalcade of women that work on men, especially athletic men, because Skip, for me, being an athlete, Skip, there are certain areas that I wanted to get worked on. I play with my bottom half. Sometimes my shoulders, so I needed that. I need you to get into my abductors. I needed my hip flexors. He's a quarterback, Skip. Everything that he does is from waist down.
Agreed.
You see Dak warming up. What is Dak doing, Skip?
It's the Tom House move.
Exactly. So I need some extra attention there.
Okay.
So if he says, well, I need extra attention there. Well, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Okay, fine. You don't feel comfortable doing it. We can end the massage. If he said that, like I said, I'm gonna let it play out, Skip. I think we owe it to the women to hear
Well,
them
absolutely.
and not to go one way or another. But I think Deshaun Watson has built up enough goodwill with me that I'm saying, okay, let him have his day in civil court.
All right.
But the thing is with civil court, Skip, is different than a criminal case.
Yep.
It's preponderance of the evidence. More probable than not. There is no reasonable doubt in a civil case. That's why the burden is so heavily on the defendant. Because if there's a centennial, an infinitesimal chance that it could happen, the jury is supposed to decide with the victim.
Yes. They are suing Deshaun Watson for compensatory and punitive damages as well as court costs. So it's about a payout.
Yes.
Okay. We're not to criminal charges.
No.
Okay. I'm going to reiterate what I told you yesterday. My suspicions are raised the highest because of one element of this story. Deshaun Watson makes almost $40 million a year. You have told me, until I reiterated yesterday, that you have had the same massage therapist for, what, 20 years?
1999.
Okay. More than. And it's someone that you trust, that you know, and that trusts you, obviously.
Right.
And she knows exactly what you need and how to go about it.
Correct.
So there's no guesswork here.
Right.
Deshaun Watson obviously is well off to the point enough that he could hire an Alex Guerrero type, it could be male or female, as your constant massage therapist, as your sort of trainer / therapist, if that's what you want. Because a lot of guys have somebody full time.
Right, they do.
The pattern of behavior here is that Deshaun is using Instagram to contact women he does not know.
Right.
And there is a pattern of, I'll fly you in from Atlanta, I'll fly you in from, I think there was one lives in Oregon, and we'll meet at a hotel. Well, this is suspicious at best. It's reckless behavior at best.
Right.
And
no, Dad stays with me in the guest house.
Okay.
So there's no hotel.
That's your massage.
Yeah, right. And even when I was in the league, Skip, I had a guy named Big Steve. He would come and he would stay in my home. I think the thing is, Skip, is that is it a situation where maybe he has a normal masseuse, she was unavailable, he called someone? Because now I deal with a young lady named Annie, and the thing that I was going to their place facility, and then when she branched out on her own, I say, now, would you feel comfortable coming to my home? I said, I have a guest house out back. I said, but if you don't feel comfortable, I totally get it. I said, you don't really know me. I come here, I come deal with you once a week. But if you don't feel comfortable, I'm fine with that. She says, Shannon, I feel comfortable. She comes, she sets up, she calls me, Shannon, I'm available, I'm ready.
Okay, but it sounds like if we're up to 9 of these with Deshaun, that these were all one-offs where it's just, okay, well that's...
I ain't got 9 friends, Skip.
You want to talk about dangerous behavior?
Yeah. I think that's the only thing that I would caution moving forward is that tighten it down, Deshaun. Tighten it down. You were too trusting. And you don't get an opportunity because there will never, ever. You see how that's headline news? Everything, Deshaun Watson, another, a second lawsuit, a third lawsuit, up to 9. Now, that's not going to be, now, if he's not guilty, if all these are not guilty, they're not going to start the front page with that. That's going to be in the middle. That's going to be in the back somewhere. They never run the not guilty with the same passion they ran, he did this. And that's the thing that I fear about Deshaun. Like I said, I know Deshaun just a little. But like I said, Skip, and sometimes we think we know someone and they have a side that we don't know. But I'm going to let it play out, and then we'll see.
So I'll go back to my worst case scenario, which happened to me and my team, my Dallas Cowboys, a few years back, Greg Hardy. My owner took a shot with Greg Hardy, and I was outraged because I already knew what I knew because he had been tried and convicted in what they call a bench case in North Carolina. And then it was you could appeal it. You could appeal it to a jury case. And she, according to authorities, decided to just go ahead and settle and not show up for the jury case. So he was acquitted in the second round. But we had all the graphic testimony from the victim, and I knew all I needed to know, no,
Right.
I don't want Greg Hardy.
Right.
And it was a bad idea.
Right.
So that's the worst case scenario of these things.
And I think the biggest thing is, Skip, is that you say these teams should pause. Now, you're going to have to, if you bring this, Deshaun in, you're going to have to try to sell this to your fans. Now, I'm sure some fan bases, they're so starved to win, they're willing to overlook it, but there are going to be some groups, Skip. We know that. There are going to be some groups at your facility, at the stadium, that's going to show up. So just understand if you're fortunate enough, and the Houston Texans, which I believe they're going to move him because he's made it clear he doesn't want to be there.
You've been out front of that story.
Yes. So you're going to have to, you're going to have to sell that to your fan base.
Obviously, even since the Greg Hardy days, life has changed.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
For the better.
Yes.
We have a Me Too movement.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, we are looking at these incidents with a much more open eye than we used to as a society. So
absolutely.
Here we go.
Yes.
Okay, well, attorney Tony Busby, who's representing many of those women, he is expected to have a press conference later, and he's saying there will be more text messages revealed. So at this point, still more information is coming out regarding Deshaun Watson, and we will continue to follow this very, very closely.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
At halftime of the Michigan State's first game against UCLA in the NCAA tournament, Tom Izzo got into a heated exchange with one of his players. After miscommunication on defense and involved Gabe Brown, Izzo and the Spartans forward got into a heated exchange, and Izzo could be seen grabbing Brown as the team headed into the locker room. So, Shannon, do you have a problem with Izzo's behavior here?
I do. Skip. Dealing with young men, 18, 19, 20 years of age, he realized he made a mistake. He's trying to walk off the court. You made your point, you said what you said, he's trying to leave. And now you grab him, okay? He knocks your hand away, he starts to run. You start to run after him. But you notice, Skip, when he ran up to him and old boy turned around, you see how Coach Izzo stopped in his tracks?
He did.
Enough.
He reached and
held
onto his jersey.
Yes, and he tried to knock him, he said, okay. Now, we had a similar situation in 2019. I think the guy's name was Aaron Henry. He was leaving the court.
He's still on the...
He's still on the team?
He's still their best player. He's their leading scorer.
And when the players, got him, I was like, okay, Coach, we got it. Now he wrong. He was wrong. He made a mistake. We got it. Coach Izzo went back at him. I get it, Skip. In the beginning, when Coach Izzo started coaching, that was acceptable. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things that were accepted. You grab the player in his shirt collar and call him all kind of names and jerk him. You remember when you started covering football, they would grab the player by his face, smash and yank him around. Skip, you can't do that anymore. You just can't do it anymore. And I get somebody gonna say, well, all his players love Coach Izzo. Prior to, I think his name was Robbie Reed, every player that Bobby Knight had loved him. Isaiah Thomas, I had him on my podcast, swears by Coach Knight. So don't give me that because everybody loves him, you excuse behavior.
Yep.
Because there's sometimes that behavior, even though you can love someone, their behavior is out of line.
Yep.
He was out of line on this, Skip. You couldn't wait till you get to the locker room? That was so important. that you had to grab the man like you tried to and try to explain to him. He already knows, Skip. His teammate was talking to him, and then you grab him. But if you notice, when the dude tried to run away and Coach Izzo started chasing him, he turned around and he gave Coach Izzo a look. Coach Izzo said, okay, I get it now. Let it go, Coach. You de-escalate, you let, calm down. You let him calm down. You get into the locker room. You put it on the board and says, this is what we need to happen. I get it, Skip. It's not easy being a coach because you go over things in meetings. You go over things in practice. And the very things you go over, they make that mistake. Yeah, it makes you upset. But that's what the really good ones can do. They can explain something, and when someone makes a mistake, they're like, son, we can't have that. Now, we just covered that in the meetings. We went over it in practice. We need you to be better. But Coach Izzo was wrong on this one. You don't grab the player. The player is already upset. When someone's upset, Skip, don't grab me. Don't. I get it. Let me calm down. We don't get in there. We're gonna discuss this thing. I understand you're the authoritative figure in this situation, but don't grab me when I'm upset, because you're not gonna like the results.
Nope. I appreciate everything you just said. I agree with everything you just said times 10. And I'm trying not to overreact to a man who's been a very successful college basketball coach for 25, this is 26th year at Michigan State. He's been to 8 Final Fours, won one of them. And he's had a long list of players, starting with Draymond Green, who support him to the death.
Yeah.
Draymond was on Twitter immediately last night saying, typical Michigan State exchange. Move on, capital RELAX. Okay? So this is the way business is done. This is the way he coaches. And I don't love it. It offends my eye. It makes me cringe to watch it because there's a better way to do it. And I think Coach Izzo has a loose screw. He's got an anger management issue that has never been addressed. He's never been forced to address it and fix it or control it, because the late, great John Wooden didn't do this, and Dean Smith didn't do it this way. There's a more effective way to coach basketball, to me.
Especially in today's time, Skip. You got to evolve.
Right. You've got to evolve. And I get what you said about Bob or Bobby Knight. He was always Bobby to me because I didn't have that much respect for the way he coached. He's more of a Bobby than a Bob. That's too much to
It's called Coach Knight.
Right? Yeah, okay, fine. And listen, Coach K's got some edge to him. And he can snap at a player, but not hands-on.
Right.
Roy Williams got an edge to him, but not it's not going to go over the edge the way Coach Izzo can.
Right.
And allow me to say that Coach Izzo is a shrewd operator. And I know for a fact he has gone out of his way to befriend many of the most prominent voices in the national media, and they always have his back because they like him.
Right.
I know him a little bit, and I like him a lot. I
don't know him at all, but I like his teams play hard. That's one thing you can say. Michigan State's gonna play hard. They might not win, but they're gonna play hard.
And they're gonna be physical.
Yes.
And when they won in 2000 with the Flintstones, Mateen Cleaves, to me, they played football basketball. and they just sort of beat you physically and somewhat mentally, but not with skill.
Right.
More will than skill.
Right.
And the point of Izzo's program is, look at what's happened. He's produced only 2 NBA All-Stars in 25 years. Draymond's made 3 All-Star teams, and Zach Randolph made 2.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. Jason Richardson was a pretty good player, but he didn't make an All-Star team, right? So what has he done? Very skillfully. He has carefully recruited not the cream of the crop.
Right.
They'll go to Duke and Kentucky, and they'll make All-Star teams. If we added up all the All-Star teams that Coach K and Calipari have, it would be laughable. Right?
That might be why he's not getting the 4 and 5
stars. Well, it is, but also to his way of doing business is he doesn't want the cream of the crop because they're going to reject him. He knows that.
Yes.
He can't coach them because they will not allow it.
No.
They're out, and they're not going to be in to start with, to your point. So he zeroes in on players who are in the next echelon that he knows will be able to accept his method of coaching them, right? And they'll be okay with it. And as you pointed out, Aaron Henry, that was a pretty ugly incident 2 years ago, 2019.
Because Skip, he met the guy on the court, okay, it escalates. The players, give the players some credit, Skip. They're like, Coach, we got it. We're going to talk to him, Coach.
Yep.
He's sitting down.
Yep.
Everybody thinks it's fine. And he gets up again and heads and gets into the player's face, and the players have to calm him down again. I'm like, come on, Coach.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say, is this theater now? I mean, are you acting now? You pretending like, oh, this was so important. I got to make sure I get it through to him.
Yep. So the incident in question last night was that Gabe Brown and Malik Hill had a miscommunication.
Right.
And they left that Jaime Jaquez wide open for UCLA, and he is a shooter.
Right.
He's a 40% three-point shooter, and he scored 27 last night and led them to the
come from behind victory.
Yeah, it was UCLA beat them in overtime, and it was an upset. And he made 3 or 4 threes, and one of them came on the incident in question. And that can be addressed, obviously, once you get to, it's the last shot of the half.
Right. You go into the locker room.
Go in, shut the door, and let it fly.
Right.
Okay? But publicly, and then Coach Izzo just tries to laugh it off after the game, like, oh, come on. After a game like that, that's all you want to ask me about that? Yeah, we do.
Yeah, because what you've done is because with your behavior, you put yourself in front of the game in actuality.
Yep.
Yeah, we would have asked you about the game, but Coach, what happened? You had a lead at halftime.
Yep.
You guys were playing well. What happened? Yeah, that's what they would have asked you had you not blown a gasket at the end of the half.
Correct. So I'm obviously older than you are, so I come from an even older school place than you came from. So quick story about me, and I have flashbacks every time I watch Coach Izzo do that. My high school baseball coach was, to me, a madman and a psycho. I learned a lot from him. His name was Winston Havenstrite. And he tried to get his point across to all of us, starting with me, and I was his quote-unquote whipping boy much of the time. But my junior year, he would slap me to get my, like, are you listening to me? Bam. Well, what am I supposed to do? In my day, in my age,
you accepted it.
There's nothing to do. I'm not going to file a grievance.
Right.
I'm not even, my parents weren't around, but I wouldn't have gone home and told my parents.
Right.
It's just the way it was done.
Right.
And we were playing a rival of ours, John Marshall, one afternoon, and I got up with the bases loaded with 2 outs in the first inning, and I hit a ball as squarely as I could hit it and hit it right back to the pitcher, and he snagged it.
Right.
I thought it was through for a base hit. And that angered him that I killed the rally. This is madman stuff. Yeah. And when I went to the dugout to get my glove, he pinned me up against the concrete wall of the dugout, my shoulders, and he's just pounding my shoulders back. Well, Shannon Sharp would have. I wasn't big enough or physical enough. I played shortstop to fight back at that point. But I think back on that a lot. It'll pop into my head, and I think, I should have fought back, right? Like I deserved.
Well, back then, Skip, you guys didn't fight back, Skip.
Okay, but my point is, that's my era that Izzo came out of. He's 66 now.
Right.
Okay, that's the way you did business. That's just the way kids were coached. That's how you turn a boy into a man, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's over. And now that we've gone through a Black Lives Matter movement, just to my eye, to watch a white man scream at a young black man, it's troubling to me. It doesn't look right.
Yeah, Skip, because I believe, and this is the way I've always approached it, Skip, anything that I could have said at that moment, I can say behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to show you up, because I don't want you to show me up. That's how I operated. The coaches, they understood how I was. You can't talk to me any kind of way.
Right. Well, you always said, you can talk to me, but don't curse me, because to you, let alone get physical with you. But hey,
because I'm not going to Skip. I never got to the point, even in the game, and you know how the games are. I mean, you nip and tuck, a drop pass here, and guy miss a block there.
Yep.
Bro, I get all that, but you're not going to put your hands on me, because I came in as a man. I'm going to leave as a man. Let's talk about it, Coach. I just believe, Coach Izzo, I believe that you can get that very point that you were trying to make across. I believe you could have got it across in the locker room, because what did you accomplish in that moment? You tell me what got through to that kid. In that very moment, do you actually think he heard what you were saying? He didn't. He didn't. He didn't want you to embarrass him. The cameras kept rolling, Skip. They could have went to commercial. They could have easily gone to commercial. But what did they do? They stayed on it, because they know. Come on, Coach. And I get it, Skip. All his players, and I get Draymond. Draymond swears by it. Finals games, he's there as a guest of Draymond. But just because someone is a great coach, they can handle things in a bad manner. And I believe this was a situation that Coach Izzo handled it the wrong way.
Agreed.
All right. Good stuff from both you guys. It's hard to imagine that I would have responded well to that kind of coaching. It is hard to watch still, but I know that he has been seen doing that plenty in the past. So we're going to leave it for now. Guys, talk a little LeBron here. You guys mentioned it off the top of the show. LeBron's quest for his 5th MVP continues after dropping 37 points in a 116-105 win over the Hornets last night. And after the game, Kyle Kuzma said that LeBron should have won league MVP, quote, at least 8, 9, 10 times. Everybody knows that. The NBA MVP is a very political award. LeBron responded to Kuzma's comments, so take a listen for yourself.
I should have more than 4, I believe. But I don't, and I don't sit around thinking about it or crying about it, whatever the case may be. I just try to come in the next season and be the MVP and be talked about again. I bet, a lot of the greatest that played this game feel like they should have had more as well. If you ask any one of those guys, so this is another opportunity, for me, to be able to be recognized as the best player, for that particular season, and in this season. So hopefully I can continue just to play great basketball and see what happens at the end.
What you both think about this. Shannon, first, do you agree that LeBron should have won at least 8 MVPs?
Yeah, I believe he should have more than 4, but 8 might be a little high. 8 might
How
be
about 9 or 10?
Yeah. Well, that's even higher than 8. So I'm going to say no. But Skip, I believe there are a couple of years that he probably should have won. I think the decision hurt his chances that first year in Miami. The year that Steve Nash won. Steve Nash at 18 was 18-10 with 54 wins. Bron was 31-7-7 and had no help, and he had 50 wins. So you can make the case. Kobe also had a very compelling argument, but I think there were 5 guys that year that got at least 11 first-place votes. But he has He has 4 times he's finished second, 3 times he's finished third. So that just lets you know the level of consistency in which he's played with over the course of his career. So he's won 4, he's been 4th, he's been second 4 times, that's 8. He's been third 3 times, that's 11. So 11 of his 17 years, he's in year 18, and we believe he'll be a top. If he doesn't win, he'll be a top 3 again. So that just goes to show you, Skip, 12 of his 18 years, he's been top 3 in the MVP. That shows a level of consistency I don't know if we've ever seen in this game before. But every year there's a different storyline. We get the situation with Giannis, and not to take anything away from Giannis, but I do believe, Skip, he should have more than 4. He's playing unbelievable basketball, and there hasn't been a season in which he hasn't played unbelievable basketball. And you can make a case. Now, you can make a case for guys that have won it. I mean, I ain't got no problem with Russ getting a triple-double and winning it. Hell, you got to give it to him. I don't care if he finished in dead last. A man averages a triple-double for the entire season, has 42 games in which he has a triple-double. Give that man the MVP. James Harden, what he did, give that man the MVP. But there have been a couple of years that LeBron should have won the MVP. And I think sometimes, Skip, we can get, like Jordan, we just got tired. They get tired. They don't do that in baseball. You win, look at Barry. Barry got 7, won like 4 in a row. Probably should have had like 9 because Jeff Kent won 1 year.
As I used to call him Jeff Kant.
Yeah. So he might have should have had 10 instead of 7. Hockey, Gretzky won it 9 times in a row.
Yep.
So for me, I agree with Kuzma. I think he should. I don't agree with it. I think the point of Kuzma's argument is he should have more than 4. 8 might be a little of an exaggeration, but I do believe he should have more than 4. And Skip, with the way with the way we look at it, there's no doubt. There should be no doubt in anybody's mind. He's been the best player for longer than anybody else in the history of the game has been the best player.
That doesn't make him the best player ever.
Well, there's no doubt about that. We've already established that, Skip. You and I just established that.
I think you're the only one in the whole world.
No, I'm the only one, but we've already established that.
And by the way, speaking of Michael Jeffrey Jordan, he could have won it every year, just every year. It's just like, what are you doing? Well, what about him? What about him? And you're right. They just got tired of it. They accepted that's the level he plays at, and it's not fair, so we got to give it to this guy or that guy or this star or that star.
Especially once you break through, Skip, because, back in the 80s, I think he won it a couple of times, but, Bird and Magic had a stranglehold on it. Bird won it 3 straight years.
So my first question to you is, when did Kyle Kuzma become LeBron James hype man, his carnival barker, his hurry, step right up and see
Read all about it.
See the 10-time MVP LeBron James, the king.
Yeah.
When did that happen? For a while, he was the odd man out. Now it's like, are you in or out? Like, remember
between Kevin Love?
Yeah. Are you? What was the thing about in or out?
Don't worry about fitting in.
Fitting in. You're fitting out.
Yeah.
Well, he's fitting way in now because he's trying to become it for LeBron. He's going to be his hype man after every game. And Kyle Kuzma is like the quote master too, and everything is wild exaggerations. I told you last year, LeBron should have won it over Giannis a year ago. I thought once we hit the pandemic, it should have been over, and LeBron should have had the MVP. I do not think he deserves this year's MVP so far. And by the way, if I can just get this off my chest, LeBron was in full showboat mode last night against a Charlotte team that had just lost by 25 at Denver and forced to play back-to-back Denver and Los Angeles, and they look dead on their feet. They were dead-legged. They were not ready to play basketball last night. And LeBron, highest IQ in basketball, smelled blood. And so he went into all-time attack mode, and he got his 37. And
easy too, didn't
he? Well, was it easy? It was so easy that he's pouring it on late. He is running it up and rubbing it in late.
Now, Skip, you see him make that run. Stop that. Okay. You make it seem like they didn't need them points.
Okay, could we see the shot that he took with 47 seconds left?
What did he just get?
Watch this. This is 47 seconds left. And this, you're up 9, and I'm going to shoot another one. Whoops. Hold on. Whoops. Oh, he missed it. He's trying to run up the score, and they were actually up 11 at that point. And he took that wild shot.
Little heat check.
Yeah, and then I'm not even going to show this because it happened near the buzzer. What time was it? 15 seconds left. He got a layup, just an uncontested layup, and that gave him 37 points. So he's just running up his point total.
Who owns the Hornets?
Who owns the Hornets? Oh.
What did he do every time? His highest-scoring game came against who, Skip?
Yep, at Charlotte. Okay, I got it. That's his that's his opportunity to say, take this. I also think he wants to put the kid in his place, LaMelo. Like, let me show you, because LaMelo dared to say, I don't really care about LeBron. I wasn't much of a fan of basketball growing up. And LeBron's,
okay, really?
Okay, watch this. So I got it, but I can't make that an MVP case that he made.
No, Skip. Last night is just adding on. That's just another layer to the cake that we've already been building since day one. Okay,
but he burned the cake back in February when you told me as soon as AD went down, there's going to be a stretch of 9 games leading to the All-Star break. You bet me that they would go 6-3. You bet me 5 cases they would go 6-3. And I got to tell you, LeBron just stunk it up through that stretch. But you played only 8 of those games.
But you didn't tell me Schroeder was going to be out also.
Okay, but it's
okay, what about
the best
March?
player on the planet.
What about March? What about March?
Okay,
you keep talking about that.
But this was the stretch with no AD. And look what they lost 4 straight home games. They lost to Brooklyn, Miami, Washington, and Phoenix. And remember, against Washington, he missed the free throw that would have won the game. Then he missed a 3 that would have tied at the end of overtime. And against Miami, he went 1 for 8 from 3, and he should have taken the last 3 to win the game, and he kicked it to Caruso.
So I noticed you conveniently jumped over. You don't mention anything about January. You focus on March. February. You ain't said nothing about March.
Okay, well, who has they played in March? They've won 4 in a row out of the break, but they've just played nobody. Seriously, what have they done?
Not nobody, huh?
Okay, and this is what just perplexes me about LeBron, because he's so much better than this. So what happened at Golden State? That's probably their toughest test since the All-Star break. Mm-hmm. And at Golden State, they're up by 20 going to the fourth quarter. And remember what happened? 8:14 left and 7:20 left. He makes threes that they pulled their starters. The starters are all gone except for Oubre, but Steph and Draymond, they're out.
Yeah.
And he makes threes with 8:14 left to put them up 25, and then 7:20 left to put them up 28. And I'm saying, who gets away with that? LeBron can, because he's the face of the league.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on. I'm watching a game the other night in which the Portland Trailblazers was playing somebody, and the team had them down by 18, had them down by 15 with 5 minutes to go. Yeah, I know it was the Pelicans. Mm-hmm. I'm just pretending like I'm racking my brain. I know exactly who it was. Skip, why would Dame still be in the game? The game is over. You are about 15 with 5 minutes. You remember they played Golden State early in the year, had them down by 19. Bull jived around, and what happened, Skip?
You think they're going to come back from 25 with 8 minutes
No,
left?
we're going to make sure. We're going to make sure.
You're going to make sure that you get your points late to chase Kareem and the all-time points record.
Skip.
It's okay.
No, we ain't chasing nobody. We chasing greatness. I mean, we chasing greatness.
Okay, he played 37 minutes last night, and they were not needed.
Yes, they were.
You could have cut it to 32 minutes.
Skip, how are you going to cut it? They had an 18-point lead. They had an 18-point lead, a 15-point lead at half. And with 59 seconds, the lead was down to 7. At one point in time, the Hornets had come all the way back and took the lead. So how in the hell are you going to tell me he don't need to play? Hornets came all the way back from 18 down to take a lead.
He played to the buzzer, and it's a wipeout. It's over.
How is it a wipeout, Skip?
Yeah, I mean, you're done. You're cooked.
Okay, so what would you have said? Have an 18-point lead, and LeBron James, they lose that game.
Well, they're not going to.
Skip. They had come all the way back and taken the lead. You saw that. You're watching the game.
I did see that. But now you're trying to make a case for MVP this year, and look what he's doing. He's 36.7% from the three-point line.
That's 37%.
Okay, well, it's 36.7.
Skip, you right up.
Let's nail it.
No,
let's be specific.
Since when did we nail it?
Here, this is specific. This is not rounding up or down. He ranks 112th of 160 qualified three-point shooters.
Okay.
112th. Free throw line, 69.9%. I'll even round up to 70. I'll give you 70. That ranks 95th of 106 qualified free throw shooters.
Okay.
So he ranks 112th in threes, 95th in free throws, and you're saying, and wait a second, I should even throw in, he's 4th in the league in turnovers, and you're saying he's the MVP? I don't get it.
So who's the MVP?
I think James Harden's edged ahead.
I don't think so. What about Embiid? You said Embiid.
Well, you told me he's disqualified because he hadn't played enough games.
I ain't tell you that, but you
told me that yesterday.
You gonna get a guy to MVP that's gonna miss 20, 25 games?
I told you it's gonna be hard, and I don't know how long he's gonna be out now, but let's see how long it takes.
Yeah, the man's averaging 26, 8, and 8, and he's playing without his second best player.
And in the month of February, he stunk.
What, Skip? We almost 1 weekend before April, and you still talking about February? Mention January.
I know, but we said February was the time he could run away and hide.
Okay, he did not run away and hide.
He did not.
Did he lose that much ground that he's out of the MVP discussion?
Well, Embiid even trumped, vaulted him in the odds.
Yeah.
He went to the top.
Where the odds at now?
Right on schedule.
Where the odds at now?
Well, he got hurt.
AD got hurt.
Yeah.
Did it? See, you said AD. Okay, I said, okay, this is his opportunity. But Schroeder, you didn't tell me Schroeder was going to miss 4 games. Okay, since Schroeder's come back.
When did he turn into Kyrie Schroeder?
Skip, there's a reason why they traded for him. There's a reason why they let Rondo go. There's a reason why that man starts. He's in the starting lineup. There's a reason why LeBron plays off the ball more this year than he has at any other time. So don't minimize the man. Dennis the Menace, and he's a ball hawk.
And I'm not minimizing that you say that LeBron James is the best player on the planet.
He is.
If he is, then you just rise above this and you carry your team in ways that he didn't carry his
How
team.
many times the best player on the planet has won a championship by himself?
Jordan did.
No, Jordan didn't. Jordan couldn't get out of the first round until he got Scottie Pippen. Huh? Let's be real. He could not get out the first round without Scottie. Got swept twice, won 1 game in his first 3
That
playoffs.
wasn't about Scottie. That was about Michael just growing up.
Now it's about growing up.
Yep.
Now about growing up. Look at my. Hey, you have to open your arms a little wider, bro, because you're about to have 5. You're gonna have to open your arms up like this. He got them like this here, Skip. Family growing. The family growing. He about to look like the Duggars. You know that family used to come on one of them channels, the reality got about 18, 19 kids.
Yep.
He about to be like the Duggars.
Really?
His family about to expand. I know he's a little old to be having kids, but he about to have another one.
All I know for sure is he is campaigning.
There
openly
you
for
go.
it.
Ain't nobody campaigning. Ain't nobody politicking.
He deserves it. That's what he said. He deserves it.
Well, yeah, he should be politicking. I'm politicking. I'm about to start politicking because I want an Emmy. I'm politicking.
Do you?
Yeah, I want it.
You deserve an Emmy. more
I
than he
agree.
deserves MVP.
Let's get Emmys for the show.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Skip. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, all right. Hearing you say politicking. Okay, I appreciate the love all around, and I like Kuzma's appreciation.
Yeah.
Hey, for LeBron getting it done. No mercy. Despite Dak Prescott signing his 4-year contract with over $126 million guaranteed, some think the QB now has less pressure on him. Current Florida head coach and Dak's former coach at Mississippi State, Dan Mullen, is one of those who believe that. He told reporters that he knew it was Dak's dream to remain in Dallas, and now that a long-term deal is done, it, quote, relieves some of the pressure for him. So, Shannon, do you agree with this?
Oh. The only thing this has done, Skip, this has secured Dak's kids, his grandkids, for the rest of their lives. You know how this works, Skip. There's a reason why the CEOs of corporation makes money. The expectations level are there. You don't get paid this kind of money. You fought tooth and nail for over 2 years, says, I deserve this. This is what I deserve. You get this. And now Skip, the expectations are through the roof. Imagine the expectations he had on him making $600,000. People like the Cowboys, the most talented football team. They have a quarterback. They should go this, and this. You pay a guy $40 million a year, which is the second highest paid contract in NFL history, and you talk about there's no pressure? The expectations are astronomical. Dak understands that. When you get this kind of money, guess what comes along with it? The same thing that comes along with Tom Brady, with Aaron Rodgers, with Patrick Mahomes. You make them big dollars? Okay, go deliver. Dak, you need to bring a Super Bowl. You need to give us one of them Roger Staubach, Troy Aikmans.
Yep. That's
what you need to do. Skip, the pressure does not cease. I understand it takes your mind like, man, whoo, I ain't got to worry about no contract. I'm straight for the next 4 years. I'm good. But the expectations of what is expected of you now in that situation, so now what's the excuse? Well, Dak had that contract on his mind, and so he's worried about getting hurt. There's none of that. Jerry has removed that, gave you a check for $75 million. You're going to make $106 million in the first 16 months. Mm-hmm. No, Skip. Expectations does not subside. Pressure does not subside when you make money. It goes up because more is expected of you.
Yep.
So, Dan Mullen, I vehemently disagree with your statement if you think the pressure is no longer on Dak. It's more pressure than he's ever faced in his life. Because what is the excuse now? You had an excuse last year with Jerry. Jerry should have gave him his money. He's done what he's supposed to do. He's won Rookie of the Year, and he's won 2 divisions. Jerry pay him. Jerry said, okay, God dang it, I'm tired of y'all. Y'all telling me the only reason I ain't got no Super Bowl is because I ain't paid my quarterback. Yep. I'm going to pay him. Jerry also know we about to sign this deal too. So I'll go ahead and I'll break him off a little something. But Skip, I disagree with Dan Mullen. The pressure is through the roof.
I cannot tell you how much I hope Dan Mullen is right. You know about pressure.
Yeah.
We have pressure on this show.
Yes.
At this network. Pressure is what you perceive it to be and how you react to what you perceive.
Right.
Correct?
Yes.
So I'm hoping that Dak, in his mind's eye, is feeling less pressure.
Right.
To your point, you're right. It's out there.
Yeah.
It's how you perceive it and how you deal with it and ultimately react to it. Is there skepticism still among Cowboy fans and Cowboy Nation about Dak Prescott's ability to live up to $75 million that he's going to make next year and $164 million over 4 years? Yes, there's skepticism.
Yes.
But I'm hoping that it's going to be a different kind of pressure that he will respond to instead of crumble under.
Okay.
I still believe he was crumbling under the pressure to bet on himself. I go back 2 seasons ago to that stretch where, remember, he opens up. I hate to beat the dead horse here, speaking of the Cowboys, but remember, he opened up with 3 huge games against 3 bad teams that you dismissed as garbage teams. The Giants, this is going back to 2019. Giants at Washington, Miami at home. And all of a sudden, the negotiations went from great, it's imminent that we're going to sign him, said Jerry Jones,
right,
to, You want more money? I thought we'd agreed on it.
Right.
And the blood went bad. And here we went, and now the world is saying, yeah, but Dak's betting on himself. Okay, then what happened? Over the last 13 games, he ranked 15th best quarterback in the league, which is just middle of the pack, but it wasn't the guy that we saw in the first 3 games.
Middle of the pack guys don't get 40 mil.
They don't.
Shouldn't even ask for 40 mil.
No, they don't. And do I have to keep bringing up all those road games at New Orleans, at New York Jets, your favorite all-time Cowboy debacle game? They lost 24-22. And then at New England, at Chicago, at Philadelphia for all the marbles. Dak just wasn't very good. He wasn't Dak. He wasn't the guy that I knew and loved. And I thought, you're trying to live up. You're trying to bet on yourself. And it didn't really matter because what happened fatefully last year, and what was it, the 5th game, the Giants game at home? Dak got hurt, and it was a horrible injury. It was career-threatening. But the silver lining to it was, as far as this negotiation went, it took Dak off the hook. And I'm not saying I'm knocking on wood for Dak. I would never wish injury upon anybody. But there was a little metallic silver lining. It was that all of a sudden Dallas was forced to go with Andy Dalton. And he got concussed. And then, here we go, Garrett Gilbert. And then there's B.A.D. What's his middle name? Anthony? Ben Anthony
Ducci.
And it was a nightmare. And so it made everybody sit back and say, where's Dak? Jerry, he's so much more valuable than we even thought that he was. Well, it's because they pretty much cratered. They had a little burst at the end thanks to Andy Dalton, and they almost climbed back into it. But you know the rest of the story. And it actually put Dak in an advantageous position. What if he had been the quarterback and struggled through the year? Well, he would have lost some maybe negotiating leverage, right?
Skip, maybe the pressure is what you feel when you don't know what the hell you're doing. But I think Dak has never felt this level of expectations before in his life. Because let's just say for the sake of argument, he has a 3-game stretch in which they lose, and he's not playing particularly well. The first thing out of everybody's mouth, did the Cowboys make the right decision in giving Dak this money? You don't think he's going to hear that?
Well, you don't think Zeke has heard that
Thank you.
About 2 long years?
Thank you.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, like, hold on. He making $40 million. And that's what he giving you? Jared could have went out there and maybe he should have made the deal for Russell Wilson. Maybe he should have tried to get Deshaun Watson.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, you're going to start hearing all of that.
Yeah.
Things that Dak has never heard before.
Yep.
You never heard that somebody should replace Dak in Dallas. But now you got $40 million and you don't play up to that $40 million, what the fans and what people in that organization think you should.
Yep.
Absolutely. So maybe pressure is the wrong word, but the expectations. You got a $40 million quarterback. You got a $15 million running back. You got 2 offensive linemen that's the highest paid at their position. You got a D lineman that's one of the highest paid at his position.
You do.
What's the expectation level? It ain't no 9-7, no 10-6. You got to make a deep playoff run. NFC Championship game, possibly Super Bowl, to make it right. That's the way it works.
So you know how I feel about Dak Prescott. He's had long stretches starting with his rookie year of spectacular play in this league. We know what he is capable of doing. He's done it. I'm just hoping that he heaves a big sigh and starts living up to $164 million because he is capable of living up.
Yes.
But to your point, it can go the other way. The expectations are extraordinary now.
They are, but Skip, you think about that his rookie year, these expectations weren't like what they are now. No. He's a rookie making $600,000 filling in. He was supposed to be just holding he's just supposed to be holding it until Tony Romo get healthy. Then he goes back to the bench. Now, you ain't holding it for nobody. You're supposed to put Lombardi number 6 next to the 5 that's already up there in Jerry's office.
Yep. I don't doubt nobody will work harder than this young man will.
I agree.
I think he has high football character. I think he has big football in-game backbone that I love, just a competitive nature of him. So I love his intangibles. But when you go from 4th round to $164 million, boy, there were times in 2019 after some of those games when if you had told me he was going to make $164 million, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah, Skip, I don't know if anybody's ever been that. I mean, normally guys that get that kind of money, Skip, they're first rounders.
Yeah.
They're second rounders. You look at the quarterback money. You look at Mahomes getting that money. You look at Deshaun. Skip, those are first round draft picks. 4th rounders, they become the second highest paid? That doesn't happen. That's a fairy tale. If you'd have told Dak, say, you know what, Dak, in about 6 years, Dak, you will be making $40 million a year. The man said, get out, man, I'm making $600,000. Man, you don't get your butt out of my face. And that's where he is. But guess what comes along with that? Expectation.
Okay. And finally, I thought my man Gerald Wayne Jones Jr. would take some more pressure off Dak Prescott by just exploding into free agency, because he said at the Dak press conference, I got a big piece of pie left. I got a big piece of salary cap pie. And I'm saying, I can't tell, because we added 2 more stellar names that I'd never heard of yesterday. I had heard of Brent Urban, but you know Brent Urban. Oh, he's no, he's not a Pro Bowl. How about Carlos Watkins? I got to look his name up here.
What'd he do?
I don't know. He's a defensive lineman, okay? And how about Ty Nsekhe? He's the new backup offensive tackle. That's all we got. We re-signed.
But you say you got $20 million in cap space.
I don't know what's happened. I don't know. So now the expectations continue to rise because you're not fixing the defense. Right.
Skip.
So it's going to be all Dak all the time.
Man, go on and break Sue off $12 million and get Sue. Sue be one of your best. He'd be your best defensive lineman next to D-Law. If D-Law come to play, D-Law would obviously be the best. But Sue better than any D-lineman y'all got.
You got that right. Do it, Jerry. Let's go. Here we go.
Jerry be cheaper free agent. But let me ask you this. Jerry has really, in the last, say, decade, Jerry hasn't made a big splash, Skip. I'm talking about with a big name. He signed some guys, but guys were past their prime. When have Jerry made...
No, and when he has tried to make any splash at all, Greg Hardy maybe?
Yeah.
It's just a disaster.
It was a disaster.
Okay.
Yeah.
So... I don't know. It's not since Neon Deion Sanders prime time.
I mean, he used to skip. You know, he used to make splashes. T.O. He gave T.O. prime dollar.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Best Leroy Glover. Skip, Leroy Glover was one of the better top 5 defensive tackle at the time. Big Leonard Davis. And then all of a sudden, Jerry's like, you know what? No, I ain't doing this no more.
We draft.
You do.
Sometimes I wonder
but you gotta
if
fill that roster out.
Jerry's listening to us and hears this. Like, come on, Jerry, get to work.
Yeah.
Come on.
Because he took me up the Christmas list. He here. And I ain't on the Christmas list.
He's listening.
Wake him up.
No mercy. Big news on the NFL front. Fox and the league announced yesterday a new and expanded media rights agreement that runs through the 2033 season. The new 11-year agreement extends Fox's coverage of premier NFC games, new and exclusive holiday games, and much more. Fox is America's #1 network for the NFL, and we could not be more excited for what lies ahead. Guys, how big is this news?
Yes. This is the best news I've heard since the pandemic started? Here we go.
11-year deal. Hey, Shanks. I want the biggest steak. I want the biggest steak at Mastro's.
I'm just
Congratulations, man.
Happy to be here. I know, Shannon, you obviously played Skip. You've been covering this forever. I think back of Jenny in college dreaming about covering the NFL. It felt like something I've always wanted to do. Wow. I'm so lucky to do it with you guys, to do it on the sideline, and to work at Fox, a place where we really do it the very, very best. I'm a little biased there. But guys, Fox's flagship, America's Game of the Week, has been the most watched show in all of television for the past 12 seasons. And of course, we're going to continue to do it. Let's move on and talk a little bit about this. Baker Mayfield and the Browns are coming off their first playoff appearance since 2002 and are looking to improve in free agency. Cleveland beefed up their secondary by signing cornerback Troy Hill to a 4-year deal yesterday, and earlier this week, they locked up safety John Johnson to a 3-year deal, adding to an already strong defense. So, Shannon, are the Browns now the best team in the AFC North?
No, I still believe it. I'm going to take the Ravens. I believe it's the Ravens because I believe they get the most consistent play at the quarterback position. He's the most dynamic. And I trust of all the defenses, I trust that the Steelers got a great defense, but it didn't show itself very well last year, especially that first game against the Cleveland Browns. But Skip, all this is good. I mean, just look at what they've done. They added Troy Hill, safety John Johnson. They're going to get Greedy Williams back, who are coming off a shoulder injury. Grant Delpit coming off Achilles injury. Odell, I want Odell to get traded. Odell, I done seen enough of Odell in Cleveland. Odell has run his course. I want Odell out of Cleveland. I want to see Odell in Tampa. I want to see Odell in Green Bay. I want to see Odell somewhere else other than Cleveland. With that withstanding, Skip, it comes down to this. What's the guy's name that takes the ball and has the ball in his hands at least 65 times a game?
Yep.
That's what it's going to be predicated on. Because I saw Baker Mayfield, when the Browns defense knocked Patrick Mahomes out, they were down by 5 points, and Baker Mayfield got the ball back with a chance to take the lead and put them in the AFC Championship game. He got 1 first down. That's what he did. So you can have all these additions you want to on the defensive side. You can do all you want to do with an offensive line. You can say, okay, Odell is the reason why we don't do well offensively because Baker's trying to force him the ball. But until you get consistent play out of that position, Skip, nothing else matters. These are some good additions. I like Troy Hill. I like John Johnson. Hey, hell, I tried to get Jerry decided for the Cowboy.
You brought it up, and I said it'll be too expensive, and it really wasn't that expensive.
When do you ever know money to come into Jerry? The man just spent $250 million for a yacht. Yep. You go just spent $164 million for a quarterback, and you talk about a little $10 million year DB is too expensive.
Wants offense, box office, offense. That's all he cares about.
He does.
Yep.
So Skip, the defense, they were 21st in scoring defense, and I get all that. And you need guys to catch Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And the Steelers going to try to throw it all around the field, and so they got a bunch of receivers. But at the end of the day, Skip, is Baker Mayfield, is he going to take that next step? That's all that matters.
I buy that, and I believe he will, because I think he took another big step last year. By the way, Adam Schefter is reporting that now the Ravens are talking to Kenny Golladay and his agent, who is Todd France. Oh, where have I heard that name? Oh, yeah. Okay, so again, do they need Kenny? Yes, they do need Kenny Golladay. So we'll see if that shakes out.
Trade for Odell. I believe Odell, they hadn't said anything, but I believe Odell's available.
Well, he is, but I think Cleveland's going to want at least a first, right?
We'll give you a second.
Okay, well, we'll see about that. So the point is, I love John Johnson. I really like Troy Hill. I can't believe my team didn't even sniff or kick the tires, and I never heard a peep about it. And the Browns got both of them. And the Browns already have, to your point, Denzel Ward and Greedy and Grant Delpit, albeit coming off the Achilles, but you're just loaded.
Yeah.
And it felt like yesterday they edged ahead of the Ravens and certainly ahead of the Steelers. And this is a football team now. This is a force to be reckoned with a young head coach who impressed me last year because he seems like he's in charge and in command and in control.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it again. I do not believe it was any coincidence. Not that I'm knocking on wood for Odell, didn't wish injury upon him, but as soon as he went down, Baker took off. That was 11 games that he played without Odell down the stretch.
Right.
11 games. He was graded the 4th best quarterback in football by your favorite website, Pro Football Focus, over those last 11. He was 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. He played extremely well in his first playoff game at Pittsburgh, and you can say that's Pittsburgh's fault, but that was more about Pittsburgh.
But he did. He made throws. He made some throws.
He made a bunch of throws, and he had a QBR of 93. That'll work.
You live with that.
100. And he did not play well when given the opportunity at Kansas City. I'm with you. But I watched a Baker Mayfield who had struggled. I saw him right before your very eyes grow up last year and start to live up to all those commercials he made too soon, in my view. All those insurance commercials and all those Heisman House commercials. It's just too many, but he started to live up. He painted a bullseye on his jersey by doing those commercials too soon. But he started to be able to live with it, to accept the pressure that he exerted on himself and not crumble under it like I thought he was before. Right. And he got so Odell-centric, so Odell-conscious, and you just can't. And they started to spread the ball, and it started to work. And he started to regain his composure and confidence because he was all over the place the year before.
Right.
He was happy feet. He just looked like he didn't trust it anymore. And again, he went through, 4 coordinators in 2 years. It was a tough road that he was on. And now he's got Kevin Stefanski, and he's got some stability. And so this is looking like the team to beat, depending on what the Ravens do.
They ain't beat the Ravens. They ain't beat the Ravens.
There's no more Matthew Judon.
Did you see what Lamar did? What Lamar did when he go on Monday night? go in the locker room, chill, let them get the lead, and then come back out there and do a number at his house. Lamar went out the game and said, you know what? I'm going to let y'all think Baker Mayfield like that. And then I'm going to come back out here and I'm going to do something bad to him and his team to let y'all know I'm that dude in the AFC North.
Okay.
Did it to him.
Okay. And he was the reigning MVP, was Lamar Jackson, and I do not discount that.
Yeah.
And he is now, Lamar's plummeted all the way to like tied for 7th in MVP odds, which I don't get.
I don't either.
Yeah, I have nothing but respect for Baltimore. I picked him to win it all last year, and I still say if Lamar hadn't got concussed at Buffalo at the end of the third quarter, I think they would have come back to win that game.
They win in that division this year, though. You got Cleveland. Oh, now
Well,
you back. Now you back on the Cleveland train.
Okay, they edged ahead because those are two sweet moves, man. That's a defense. That is coming together.
They ain't finna catch L-Jack.
I don't know.
I know.
Huh. How can you argue with those last 11? 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Without Odell.
You see, you keep on talking about without Odell. Now watch Odell. I tell you what, put Odell in Green Bay. Put Odell in Tampa. Put Odell in with the Rams.
Tampa does not need Odell.
I'm just saying.
That's like the last thing they need.
They need him. They need him. Tom wants him. Tom wants him. Don't be surprised.
They have mutual love, but
Right.
I think AB is just fine. I'm waiting for the news. I keep
Well,
waiting.
put him up in Green Bay.
Who? Odell?
Odell.
Okay, good.
Put him up in Green Bay.
Do it. Good luck.
And let's see what Aaron Rodgers do with him.
Odell, more trouble than worth.
Well, I want that kind of trouble then.
Okay.
I just need him to get healthy.
Okay.
He say he healthy. He say he been working. He gonna be where he need to be. He be straight.
I need him to get his priorities straight.
His priority straight is winning. He about to win.
He is a solo act.
No.
He's the ultimate diva receiver. It's all about him and not about them.
Skip, you could have a team. Look, it was Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes featuring Teddy Pendergrass. It's okay. You know, it was new. It was a new edition. New edition.
Yeah.
With featuring Johnny Gill. Okay, we could be in this thing together, but you know your boy here that can take this thing over at any given time. Any given time. Okay, you let him go to Green Bay and put it with Devontae and Aaron Rodgers and see what happens. I want to see if you think Odell is still that guy. And Baker's so much better without him. Baker's so much better without him. Okay.
Last time I saw Odell at Lambeau Field, he had just taken a group of receivers to South Beach.
That was 7 years ago.
To get ready for a game on the frozen tundra, a playoff game. Yeah. And he dropped 2 balls in the first quarter, one of them a touchdown pass, and he wound up going into the visitors' locker room at Lambeau Field and leaving a big hole in the wall with his helmet. Do you remember this?
I do, Skip. That was Skip.
Thank you.
Skip, that was
Odell.
You're not gonna let the man overcome that.
Well, I'm just saying that's just who he is. I don't have anything personal against him, but I don't need him.
When you're young, sometimes, guys, it takes a little longer for other guys to grow up. And sometimes you're young, you make mistakes. If he had it to do over again, I don't believe he takes that trip down to Miami.
Okay, what did you just tell me? You prefaced all this by saying they don't need Odell in Cleveland anymore. Yes, you're right.
No, I don't want him in Cleveland anymore.
Because?
Because Baker don't know how to use it.
Oh, okay. Well, they did fine without him.
Skip, I can give. If you're a chef and I can give you all the ingredients, but if you don't know what to do with them, you ain't no good.
Who made the playoffs without Odell?
Everybody, Skip. Like if I were to give your brother some oxtails, some neck bones, turkey neck, he probably ain't gonna know. He gonna probably throw them in the trash. Now your boy come in the kitchen knowing exactly what to do with neck bones, some oxtails or turkey necks. Get me some collard greens. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm gonna do. Get me some black-eyed peas. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, see.
I think my brother's a magician when it comes to
not with no oxtails. He don't know nothing about no oxtails. He don't know about no turkey necks.
Well, right now he just needs to get people inside his restaurant and be okay.
Well, hopefully. Well, I don't know what it's like in Chicago, but I think we about to open up back in L.A. Yeah. He might need to come to L.A. Tell him to come to L.A.
I feel like he can make anything.
He got a place here?
Yeah.
You be going to eat for free, ain't it? That's why he can't make no money.
If I used your name, would that help me get into those restaurants? I might have to do that someday. I've always wanted to try. He's the best of the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll have to
like me, I'm the best of the best.
No mercy.
Well, during a radio interview in LA, LeVar Ball didn't hold back talking about his son's situations. He disagreed with Lonzo's role in New Orleans and called out Zion and Brandon Ingram by saying neither star is a playmaker. LeVar then turned his focus to LaMelo, saying he didn't need Michael Jordan's advice because the legend is like expired milk. He because it has been so long since MJ has won a championship. I cannot believe that he said that. Shannon, how will these latest LaVar statements impact his sons here?
Well, they don't help, Skip, but his sons have to be some of the strongest-minded individuals I know because they have to block out all this because they're constantly hearing it. And I'm sure that his teammates like, man, you heard what your dad said? And they still just go out there and play basketball. For Lonzo, Skip, I get. But you can't say because guys didn't do this at the collegiate level, they can't do it at the NBA level. Skip, nobody thought Jordan was going to be the player. Jordan was this kind of player at the collegiate level. Anthony Davis wasn't even close to this kind of offensive player at Kentucky.
Not even close.
Guys evolve, LaVar.
Yep.
I get that you want the ball in your son's hands all the time. Nobody else should touch the ball unless they rebound it to pass it to your son. I get it. But to say Brandon Ingram's an all-star, Zion Williamson is an all-star. Is Zion the playmaker your son? No. But I think Brandon Ingram could be, and he's showing that he can run the offense. And Stan Van Gundy has trusted him enough and put the ball more in his hands than even Alvin Gentry did. He's put the ball in Zion's hand. A lot of that has to do, Skip, so they can't double him. They give the ball to Zion, let him get a head of steam, let him come down, he's laying it up, or he's getting buckets.
Yep.
Melo. If Melo were to go ask Jordan advice, I'm sure Mike would have no problem giving him advice. But Mike is not a guy that just comes down there watching practice and say, pulling guys to the side.
Yeah.
Man, look. I know he wants his sons to play together. But do they really want to play together, or do they want to make a name for themselves? And I think they're doing great apart. This is the Lonzo ball I think the Lakers thought they were going to get. But I think a lot of that has to do with the way Melo's come in. Melo's aggressive. Man, I watched him last night, Skip. He don't play like he's 19. And nothing phases him. He played terrible in the first half.
He did.
And he forgot all about that. He forgot that he played terrible. He came out there and had an unbelievable second half and had an unbelievable game. But I just don't know where LaVar thinks these comments go. Maybe he thinks they listen to him. But I can assure you, the guys that's running these teams, they just shake their head. But this is what you have to deal with. You knew that.
Yep.
You knew what you was getting when you drafted with his sons. So I guess they'll deal with it.
All perfectly said by you. By the way, Russell Westbrook in college, I didn't see any of this.
None of it.
James Harden in college, sorry.
None of it.
Sorry. Okay, back to LaVar. We love LaVar. Fun to have on the show.
He is.
Entertaining, and there's always truth to what he says, some truth. Sometimes too much truth to what he says. And I still cannot fathom why he keeps doing this to his sons.
Right.
Because it doesn't help either one of them remotely.
No.
It only makes their life more difficult in their two basketball situations. Right. LaVar just took on the greatest player in the history of this game, in my opinion, and many people's opinion. And he is the owner and operator of the franchise for which LaMelo now plays.
Right.
And he pays LaMelo's salary. And I will give you this. Michael can't pick players, but he can still teach players.
Yeah.
And I'm sure here and there he will help LaMelo's growth. He just will. So what good does it do to say you're like expired milk, that when's the last time you won a championship? Well, he won 6 in 6 tries, and it's just there. It's on his record, and it'll never go away.
But the recipe for winning, Skip, it doesn't change.
No. And it's so offensive to me because I still mostly blame LaVar for what happened to Lonzo with the Lakers. Mm-hmm. It was the most unfair thing I've ever witnessed evolve and develop, because all of a sudden LaVar, talk about speaking it into existence, he spoke himself into existence at his son's expense. His son was 18 years old trying to make it with the Lakers as the number 2 pick, picked by Magic Johnson.
Right.
Proclaimed by Magic Johnson that his number 2 jersey will hang one day in our rafters.
Yeah.
Really? Boy, that's a tall order.
Yeah.
And then before he could even dribble an NBA basketball, his father said he's already better than Steph Curry. What are you talking about? Even if you believe it with all your heart and soul, why would you say it?
Right.
Because in trying to speak that into existence, you're going to speak your son into oblivion.
Right.
Because every night he's going to have to deal with another point guard who's going to want to terrorize him to get even with you.
Right.
What happened on opening night at Staples?
But I think he kind of learned a little bit because he ain't say Melo better than nobody. I think he kind of learned his lesson by that one.
Patrick Beverly, a little pit bull of a defender. What did he do to Lonzo on opening night? The first time he ever played in the NBA, a real game. He destroyed him.
Picked him up 94 feet.
He just destroyed him. And when the game was over, he pointed to the fifth row to wherever
That's you.
LaVar was.
You
that
caused
was
that.
for you. And then we had a string of those where point guards were just destroying poor Lonzo. He's just 18. He doesn't have his man body yet.
Right.
And this year, for the first time, he's starting to look like a grown man.
He does, Skip.
Yep.
He's playing really well. He's shooting the ball well. He's distributed the ball. I mean, he had a couple of triple-doubles. He get 8-9 rebounds
He
a
had
game.
17 assists the other night.
Yes.
He's shooting 38.5% from three.
Yes.
You want to talk about a transformation?
I agree with you. I just don't know. What was the purpose of you saying this?
Does this not make it a little awkward and uncomfortable for Zion and B.I. with Lonzo?
Yeah.
And again, you can say they just laugh it off. That's just LaVar. But you know what sticks in your craw?
Of course
it would
it
stick
does.
in mine.
Yeah. I mean, if a family member of a teammate of mine were to have said something, yeah.
What do you always say? Then that had to come from Lonzo to start with?
The thing is, Skip, that might be, Lonzo might have the only person that he speak for himself. He don't even care what Lonzo can say, Dad, don't say that. But like Lonzo was out here, he says, I'm used to it. They're used to him being this way. He's been that way their entire life.
Entire lives.
He ain't gonna change it now, Skip.
And listen, the Pelicans are having trouble enough finding their chemistry together, and I don't get it because their star power is extraordinary.
We don't play no
but
defense.
They don't play up to it. And
They do offensively, Skip.
They do sometimes.
They just don't play any defense.
I'm not the biggest Stan Van fan, but the point is that even on offense, some nights it looks out of sync because is it your turn or my turn? And now they do. And I like the sort of subtle change. Let Zion occasionally just have the ball at the top of the key and just say, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. I'll just terrorize you. I'll just get a head of steam and drive it right through you and over you.
He would really be unguardable, Skip, if he worked on a mid-range game.
Yep.
So because we can give him the ball, let's say at half court. Okay, if the big's just going to stay in the paint, I'm just going to walk into a 15-footer.
Yep.
Once he gets proficient at that and force those bigs to come out,
I've seen him walk into threes before and make them look good making them.
Because he gets that ball on the block, Skip.
Yeah.
He can pivot and get to the rim so quick. They don't even it's like he catches the ball and he's gone.
Well, and so what's LaVar saying about Lonzo? Yeah, I want him to get traded. I want him out. I know there's a lot of speculation about the Knicks could use Lonzo. Well, they could, for sure. And Lonzo can play defense, so could he play for the new head coach?
Yeah.
Yep.
But Skip, I've given up. I'm like, LaVar gonna be LaVar. He go LaVar. So us hoping that he doesn't put his boys in this kind of situation.
Yep. Is it for LaVar or for his sons? That's the question.
Skip, he's angling. He wants all of his boys to play together. That's what he wants. But what if a team don't want all of them? What if the team only want one of them?
Remember, he came here and he wanted to rename the Phoenix franchise the Phoenix Suns, S-O-N-S.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a great idea, but it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. No. But like I said, there's a great chance early in their career, Skip, they're not going to play together. Now, maybe once Lonzo in year 10 and year 11, and you're like, you know what? I just want to play with my brother. Okay. But the teams have saying that, not the players.
Yet we heard LaMelo say before he played at Staples that he didn't really follow basketball when he was growing up because his idol was his father.
Right.
Those kids just swear by their father. They just do. They are all in, heart and soul.
And don't think Go James didn't hear what you said the other day. But you didn't talk about you ain't trying to see me like that, okay? You don't think Go didn't hear that.
What LaMelo said, but LaMelo was just being like straight from the heart honest.
And you see,
we
put that foul on him. You see, we bodied him up and let him know.
I saw it. Yeah.
Just letting you know, I'm still the GOAT.
Well, he should be since you're playing a teenager.
Don't do that, Skip. Hold on. You do realize we were a teenager at one point in time, right?
Yeah, you were. And you look like you're about 38 when you were a teenager.
You go see, we ain't aged a bit.
No.
We ain't aged a bit. They call us Benjamin Button. Old Brian Button. Yeah, he aged backwards.
He pushes my button, I know that.
By the time he get 43, he be looking like he like 27. Still average about 20 points a game.
Just to wrap this up, you guys, Mark Stein just tweeted this a couple minutes ago. The Clippers interested in exploring going after Lonzo here.
Ooh,
so something to keep in mind, which could be interesting.
Good.
I wanted your take, Skip. And that was just a couple minutes ago.
See,
so
jersey will be in the rafters.
Thursday, the NBA trade deadline. Yes, it could be true. No mercy. Sunday, the best season ever continues on Fox as NASCAR Cup Series rolls into Atlanta, where every turn is its own test. You can catch all the action for the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 at 3 Eastern on Fox and anywhere on the Fox Sports app. Ryan Fitzpatrick will suit up for his 9th NFL team after signing a 1-year deal in Washington. Fitzpatrick said that he feels like he's playing his best football right now. And despite never spending more than 4 seasons with one team since entering the league in 2005, Fitzpatrick said it's interesting that, quote, in year 17, this was the most sought after I have been in my whole career. So, Shannon, how do you explain this situation?
Skip, the way I explain it is that there are teams that are looking for quarterback play, more likely a bridge guy to a guy that's going to be the long-term solution.
Yep.
And the price. Skip, growing up, you'd be looking for what we call a used car. We used to call it a second-hand car.
Yep.
Looking for, if I can find me a good second-hand car at a good price, I think I'm going to get that thing. Skip, I mean, they're not paying him $20 million. They're not paying him $25, $30, $40 million. You got him at a good price. What'd you get him at, $10 million?
To go to 12.
With incentives.
Okay.
And so I think that, and he's played well. He played well last year in really small sample size. He's like sometimes medicine, Skip. Sometimes, aspirin, you can take 1 or 2 and it'll help you.
Yeah.
Take 7, 8, 9, or 10 of them, it'll kill you. Mm-hmm. And that's what you do. You play him a lot, and it'll blow up in your face. Because all I know, the guy's been in the league 17 years. And how many teams have he led to the playoffs?
0.
Exactly.
0.
So what I'm telling you is
Ryan Fitzpatrick has been in the league 17 years and he's never played a single playoff game. Think about that.
Thank you. Whew. So what I've seen is that when you have expectation, he plays well. Buffalo, give him a long-term deal. Wet the bed. Jets, plays well. Give him a long-term deal. Wet the bed. So everywhere he goes, if there is expectations, you already know what you're going to get. Now, the Washington football team, Skip, they added some pieces. They have expectations. Watch what he do. He'll have a game here or there. You're like, oh, my goodness.
Yep.
But, Skip, you don't be on 7, 8, 9 teams, 17 years in the league. And smart guy, he will push the ball down the field. Teammates love him because he'll give you an opportunity to make a play. Coaches hate it. They're like, right, what the hell are you doing, son? We didn't need that. Yep. Just take the flat, take the hook.
By the way, real quick, his quote yesterday was, if I have a chance and I got my guy one-on-one, I will give them a chance. Mm-hmm. Guys like playing with me because of that.
Yeah.
Well, they do. And Curtis Samuel and McLaurin, listen, they're going to get single coverage all too much, and they can fly, and he will let it fly to both of them.
He will. But coaches hate that. Hence why he's been on 9 teams in 17 years. Because why the players like that, the coaches realize more times than not we lose games because of that.
Yep. He has thrown way too many interceptions. It's why his career record is 59, 86, and 1. So 59 wins, 86 losses, and a tie.
That's not good, Skip.
It's not good, but he will have stretches of sensational
brilliance.
Like you'll say, where has that come from?
Yes.
Because he knows how to play, and his teammates always like him, and they will play for him.
He's a likable guy, Skip.
Yep, he is. He had funny quotes about the security guard might not recognize him, think he's Conor McGregor.
Right.
That's funny, or somebody from Duck Dynasty, they may think that. Okay, well, so he doesn't take himself very seriously.
He does not.
But to last 17 years in this league, it shows you what a dearth there is at that position. You just can't find many. You can't find a Ryan Fitzpatrick who can be that reliable in small doses.
Skip, a lot of times, backup quarterbacks will have a longer career than a starter because of the expectations. Skip, ain't nobody expect. Who's ever said we're Ryan Fitzpatrick away from getting to the Super Bowl? We're a Ryan Fitzpatrick away from being a contender. Skip, that's why you see backups. Guys play 13, 14, 15 years. Harry Years in year 17. He might play, while you bull jiving, Skip, he might play just as long as Tom Brady.
He might. Because
the expectation level are different than a starter. They're not going to let, if Tom Brady was doing what he was doing, Tom Brady would not have lasted 17 years.
Yep.
Peyton Manning wouldn't have lasted 18. Drew Brees wouldn't have lasted those years. Phillip Rivers, Roethlisberger. But 1-2 games, he come and light you up. You're like, okay, he's a nice, reliable guy. Bridge. Normally what he does is that he bridges from here. Next quarterback comes in, takes it over.
There's always blessing curse with him because remember, he had one winning season with the Jets. They went 10-6 and they missed the playoffs.
Yes.
What?
Gave him a new contract, Skip, and then what happened the following year?
So I will tell you this quick story. There was once upon a time, one time I did bet against the man I say I never bet against, Tom Brady. This was back in 2011, week 3, and I got into it with my showrunner at the time at ESPN, who was a huge Patriot fan, about a game, New England at Buffalo. Ryan Fitzpatrick had gotten off to a hot start for the Bills, and they were pretty good at that point. So I bet him a dinner that Ryan Fitzpatrick would beat Tom Brady, and I won it. They won 34-31, and Ryan threw for 369. He threw 2 touchdown passes. He also threw 2 interceptions, but they hung on 34-31. It was a classic Ryan Fitzpatrick game. He is highly capable of doing that.
Yes.
Don't ask me what happened the rest of the year because they just fell off the map.
Yes.
But that was, again, 2011, week 3. He's still capable of doing that on occasion.
Skip, he'll have a game. You remember against New Orleans, Skip? He opened up and he beat New Orleans in New Orleans. He threw for over 400 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Just this last year. Yeah.
Oh, and that was the year that Jameis got suspended. And he kept Jameis on the bench for a couple of extra weeks because he was playing so well. And then what did he do?
Yep.
All of a sudden, Jameis got the job back because of the interception. And that's what will happen, Skip. He will get you, he'll raise your expectations, your hopes up, and then he'll fall like Lucifer from the heavens. That's what Ryan Fitzpatrick is. Now, you have expectations because of the defense that they got in Washington and the additions that they made.
Yeah.
Watch what Ryan Fitzpatrick do.
Okay. Well, I told you what my worst nightmare would be. He would beat my Cowboys
he beat you
twice.
Yes.
And they'd go 8-8 and miss the playoffs, right?
Probably.
And knock us out, too, and the Giants would just scoot in the back door, right?
Sneak in the back.
Okay, way to go.
But I do believe Ryan Fitzpatrick should have remained the starter last year in Miami.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was playing well enough. But it just goes to show you what they're like, well, you're not going to be our starter long term, so what do we do?
Well, he said it crushed him.
Yeah.
He was open about it just hurt his
heart. It should have. It should have. I would have been hurt, too. Yeah.
Well, here we go. Listen, he has joined good football. I know they were only 7-9 last year, but you put Curtis Samuel in there, all of a sudden.
Well, he better than that. The thing is, he's better than Haskins. We know that. Even with the mistakes and the win-loss record, he's better than Haskins. The question is, Skip, I think they have is that can Taylor Heineke, can he do what he did against Tampa? Can he carry that over for a season? Because I believe Fitzpatrick goes in as a starter, Skip. The guy you got $10 million. And the other guy you gave 2 years, $4.5, almost $5 million.
Yeah.
So I believe he goes in as the starter. He's a smart guy.
You gave him 2 burners at the wideout. You gave him Logan Thomas.
Yeah.
You gave him Antonio Gibson and McKissick as the back.
Yeah. Skip, they got a nice little team.
They got a nice little
offense.
Yeah. We know what their front 7 is on defense.
Yeah.
No mercy.
Yesterday, the 3rd civil lawsuit against Deshaun Watson was filed, alleging sexual misconduct during massages. Attorney Tony Busby posted on his Instagram later in the day that he is representing 9 total women who will bring cases against the Houston quarterback. And according to a report yesterday, the accusations have still not deterred teams that were interested in trading for the QB if the Texans are willing to make the deal. So we have been following this as new information comes out all week. Skip, are you surprised that the teams interested in Deshaun aren't backing off at this point?
Yeah, I'm surprised and I'm disappointed if, in fact, they're not at least saying, let's hold on here. Let's back up. Let's wait. Let's see what continues to come out and what is ultimately proven. But, Shannon, in the history of this league, there has never been a player this valuable, this young, who could hit the open market in auction.
Correct.
And you have been out front of this story in reporting on our show that he is just never going to play for the Texans again. He is out.
Out.
And finally, John McClain, who's covered the Texans all the way back to the Oilers, is the oracle when it comes to Houston football. He finally said, I think he tweeted about 48 hours ago, expect him to be traded. So I can only speak for myself. If I ran one of those teams, A, would I want Deshaun? Yes. He's a life changer. I'm his biggest fan. But then B, this is so troubling. It's so disturbing. It's starting to run so deep. We're starting to have such a mountain of evidence against Deshaun, none of it yet proven in court, but it continues to grow to the point that this attorney, Tony Busby in Houston, says he is preparing 9 total cases. We know of 3. And the third lawsuit, again, points out Watson's behavior is part of a disturbing pattern of preying on vulnerable women. Deshaun, again, responded only to the first lawsuit and said, I've never treated anyone with anything other than the utmost respect, and he wants to clear his name. And he said that the first lawsuit was nothing but a money grab, sort of a desperate 6-figure attempt or demand that he rejected. Well, then the severity of the lawsuits deepened all the way to the third lawsuit. And without going into the gory detail, it is so troubling now that you always sit back and say, okay, they all deserve their day in court, obviously, the women, and so does Deshaun.
Correct.
But now I'm to the point where I ask myself the question, is it possible that all 3 of these women, and potentially 9 total, have completely fabricated everything that happened or completely exaggerated or embellished? All 9 of them, or 3 that we know of? Is that possible? Well, sure, it's possible. I'm not sure it's probable, right? That there has to be some truth to what's going on here because the evidence mounts?
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, is look, when I look at it, I think a lot of this has to do with civil versus criminally. And I'm not, and I think, I don't want people to, well, I guess because you said it civilly, it's not as bad. Yes, it's bad. 1 case, let alone if there's as many as 9, is too many. 1 is too many. 9 is, we get into a whole different ballgame.
By the way, to your point, no criminal investigation or charges yet, though this attorney says he will be sending a package to the Houston police of evidence. So here we go.
I believe teams will do their due diligence. I believe probably Deshaun's representatives, they're asked, okay, so what's going on? What is going on here? What do we think is going to happen? What without going into, obviously you can't go into too much details. Is Deshaun going to be okay? Is this something that we should be worried about? Is there more to come? Is there something that we don't know other than what we see in the lawsuit? Is there any criminal culpability gonna come out of this? They're asking all these questions. Also, you're gonna have to be able to sell this to your fan base. Now, some fans, Skip, man, if we get a chance to get Deshaun Watson, they'll look past all the other things.
Yep.
But there will be some.
There will be.
That will show up at the facility, that will show up at the games and be out front and protect women. And rightfully so, I have no problem. I have no problem with that. We need to protect women. Women should not be, there should be no victims. We saw what just happened, 2 days ago in Atlanta, in my hometown, with the Asian American community. They're suffering right now. So I take let it play. But I want this thing to play out. And like you said, what they're trying to establish here is this a pattern of behavior where Deshaun Watson, under the guise of wanting a massage, luring these women into this situation with the hopes of something else. That's what they're going to try to establish here. But I want these women to have their day, their say, but I also want Deshaun to have his day and his say.
Sure.
And whatever the outcome is, Skip, I have no choice but to go with it. I don't always agree with every verdict. I don't always agree with every outcome.
Yep.
But all you can do is go to a jury of your peers, and we'll see what happens. But Skip, with civil liability, it's a lot easier to prove that than in a criminal case.
Yep.
And remember, that's how they got OJ. That's how they get a lot of people, Skip. That's what the NFL used, Skip, preponderance of the evidence. Remember, that's how they got Tom Brady.
They did.
If they really took that to a court, man, the judge was like, the judge told him, "What time? Get this out of my courtroom."
Well, the first round did with Brady. Yeah.
Get this out of my courtroom. But Skip, it's just it's bad because Deshaun. Like I said, I know Deshaun a little bit. Don't know him that well. That he got himself into this situation, and it's not a good look. He's never going to be the Deshaun Watson, the pristine image. It's kind of like it's kind of like the Tiger Woods. We never looked at Tiger Woods the exact same as before. It's going to be hard for people to look at Deshaun Watson in the same light. Even if all 9, he has a trial, and all 9 of them say not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, didn't happen. People just going to look at it like, damn, I ain't know Deshaun was like that.
Correct. He did go ahead and hire 2 days ago, Rusty Hardin, who was another celebrity attorney in a very different vein in Houston because he has represented a number of high-profile athletes, starting with Roger Clemens, Adrian Peterson, we can go down the line, Michael Bennett. And if you got trouble, you want Rusty Hardin on your side. He is in the Johnny Cochran League as a defense attorney.
Right.
And his opening statement to ESPN 2 days ago was, "I'm real comfortable with the kind of person that Deshaun Watson is. He has a great reputation here in Houston, and the allegations are really inconsistent with the kind of person he is."
Right.
That was his opening salvo 2 days ago after one lawsuit had been filed.
Right.
Wonder if Rusty's sitting back reconsidering his view of Deshaun, because it seems like there is a growing pattern of behavior that there is a side of Deshaun we did not know.
Right.
So you and I have talked at length about he makes almost $40 million a year. And most athletes of that echelon would hire a full-time athletic massage therapist.
Right.
And you've had one for 20-odd years. And you trust her, and she trusts you.
Correct.
And there's no gray area. There's no question of how it's going to be handled.
And I think the thing is, Skip, when people start looking at your side out is that you're going through the yellow pages or you're going through IG to try to find a masseuse. I mean, if I didn't know a masseuse, I'm like, hey, bro, you got somebody to work on you? You know anybody? Does she travel? Does she make house calls? I mean, how far is it? You ask things of that nature. If it's something, if your massage therapist is not available, that's what you do, Skip. I mean, but I'm not looking at no yellow pages to try to find no massage therapist. I'm not going on IG to try to find no massage therapist. Now, that's just me. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with that. So, because I think sometimes, Skip, it's the mention of impropriety.
Sure.
That changes people's perception of you.
But that, for Deshaun Watson, is risky business.
It is.
It is reckless behavior, because if there are 9, then it's a lot of one-offs. I just want to meet you one time, and he's flying them in from various places around the country and meeting them at a hotel or at their house.
Right.
It's beneath Deshaun's dignity to do it, like he's better than that, we thought.
A lot of times, Skip, as a professional athlete, you're like, this wouldn't happen to me. You take things for granted, and your tenor, it takes you a while, and sometimes it takes things to happen for you to realize, okay, this is not a game. This people out here like this, and so for me, I just try to remove that element from my life. So I don't have to worry about it, Skip. And I know they have cameras on the elevator, but I just feel more comfortable if I'm not on the elevator with a single woman. I just feel better. If I'm not
just one woman.
Yeah, with just one. Yes, one woman, 2. It could be 3 women. I'm not getting on. If I'm the only guy, I'm not getting on. And I don't like I said. And when I get facials, I was like, do you mind if you leave the door cracked? Skip, I don't, like I said, if I don't know you like that, got a lady that's been doing my facials for, a decade. Okay, she's comfortable with me, I'm comfortable with her.
Okay.
But when I go to a new place, I'm not comfortable with you. Do you mind leaving the door cracked? Because I don't want, I just don't feel comfortable.
So if I were running a football team that desperately wanted to trade for Deshaun, is willing to offer sun and moon for Deshaun Watson, not only am I waiting to see how this all evolves and what comes out for sure and for real, but now I'm questioning Deshaun's behavior, his character, because this does not speak well of Deshaun, just this on a surface alone.
Yeah, Skip, I don't know if you're going to have that kind of time, because I don't know if this thing is going to be wrapped up by the time the draft rolls around. And I believe draft is a drop-dead deadline in order for this to run its course. So you're going to probably have to, put your, whatever it is, 2, 3, 4 three first rounders and players. You're going to have to put all that on the table, and the Houston Texans are going to have to, make a decision from that. But like I said, 1 is too many. 9 is concerning, because it seems like there's a pattern. There's they use the word MO, modus operandi.
Yeah.
It seems like this is what's going on here. But like I said, I want the ladies, I want you to have your day in court.
Sure.
Deshaun,
Absolutely.
you deserve to have your day in court, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Well, we do know that Lisa Friel, who heads up that investigative arm of the National Football League, is on the case, and she has requested through this attorney to interview these women in question here, the alleged victims.
Correct.
And that, if nothing else, is this a violation of the conduct policy?
It probably will.
Yeah.
He'll probably get a couple of games.
Well, I don't know. Zeke got 6.
Yeah.
So it could be more in line with that.
Yeah.
Before all
it's
is said and
possible.
done.
It's possible.
Yep.
This is so hard, because it's a really, really frustrating situation all around. And you guys brought up the draft. So it is 6 weeks away. So I don't know how long it will take to be figuring all of this out. And we mentioned it earlier, but the attorney, Tony Busby, he is expected to hold a press conference later today. He apparently has more text messages to share. So we'll be following the situation. Oh, it's hard, though, because as you guys have said, I've been rooting for Deshaun. I love Deshaun. I loved him in college. And so it's a bummer.
Well, those text messages need to be more incriminating than the ones he said, I need you to work my glutes.
I don't want this to be the reality. I really, really hope not, guys.
No mercy. For the first time in 11 years, WWE Hall of Famer Edge competes in a match on SmackDown. Plus, Sasha Banks collides with Nia Jax in a championship showdown. It's an all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at 8 Eastern on Fox.
Well, it has been a wild week in free agency, watching the Bucs try to keep their Super Bowl winning team together, and Bill Belichick going on an unprecedented spending spree. But lost in the frenzy is the fact that there are still a lot of big-name wide receivers out there. JuJu Smith-Schuster, Kenny Golladay, T.Y. Hilton, Sammy Watkins, and a few more still don't have a team yet, which some have said is a reflection of how that position is now being viewed. So, Shannon, how do you explain the devaluing of the wide receiver position?
Well, how good are the guys that's available? Let me ask you a question, Skip. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, this is the same market, and a guy like Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Julio Jones, Justin Jefferson, and Tyreek Hill, you think they're still on the market? Well, the guys that's on the market are not viewed as top-tier guys. So that's why they're still on the market. And maybe the price that they were asking, teams like, nah, that's too much, bro. You're not a $17 million receiver. Corey Davis signed really early, and he got a little over 12. Curtis Samuel got 3 for 34.5. Nelson Aguilar got 2 for 22. So maybe that's in the range where they view they basically said all these receivers that are in the draft, that's kind of where they are. They're kind of like a 12.5 to a $10 million group. Well, JuJu and T.Y. probably thinking they 14, 15, 16.
I'm sure they do.
And the teams are like, nah, y'all, we don't see you guys like that.
Yep.
You're not Devontae. You're not a Tyreek or a Julio, Justin Jefferson, Michael Thomas. We don't view you as that level of receiver, so we're not going there even in free agency. Now, I get it. That, Skip, you have to overpay, and a lot of people believe that they overpay for Nelson Aguilar. And Corey Davis, there's a reason why they let him go. A.J. Brown has outperformed him. Corey Davis was a top 5 pick. So for me, I just think the value of that position is not overvalued. It's just that the players, the teams don't believe they're worth the value that they're asking for. And so that's where they are right now. And normally, we'll see what these guys get, but they're probably going to be somewhere. You see a lot of guys get signed 1-year, 2-year deals. That new contract kicks in 2023. That's when they're going to be a boatload of money available.
Yep.
So guys say, you know what? I'll take this 1 year, prove it, and then I'll get an opportunity to get back to the table, and we'll sit down again.
And, of course, this next draft class is loaded with wide receivers. Starting with, Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase.
Yep.
They're like 2-1, 1-2,
Right.
whichever way, whichever is your favorite.
Right.
So you can go younger, cheaper,
Right.
and better.
Right.
Okay? So I have been surprised by Kenny Golladay because the numbers scream that he's pretty good.
He's the best. Yeah, right.
And yet my eye test of Kenny Golladay, that's just me, and maybe it's because they're just the Lions, but he didn't leap off my TV screen to where I said, oh, that's the guy I would want, right? And yet T.Y. Hilton has leaped off my screen before.
Right, yes.
He feels like he's a dynamo to me, and he could help change your life. And Sammy Watkins, I think he could still fly. I don't think he's an old receiver. I know he gets beat up.
Yep.
But still, I'm a little surprised by that. And JuJu hasn't done himself any favors with all of his theatrics before games out on the logo and all of his posting.
Corvette. I guess people don't want to drive Corvettes anymore.
I guess not. I'll take one. But again, JuJu's he's pretty good.
Skip, he's a 2.
Yeah.
Skip, I'm not giving a $13 million for a number 2. Look at his numbers with AB. Look at his numbers minus AB. I think he had like 10 or 11 100-yard games with AB on the roster. He's had 2 since AB's left. So it's amazing, and I tell guys this all the time. It's easy to be the number 2 receiver when you got a dog on the other side. He's getting the coverage rolled his way. He's getting all the attention. Now all of a sudden, AB goes away. They focus all their attention on JuJu. Man, people don't mention JuJu except TikTok videos and Instagram.
Yep. And yet, speaking of AB, the silence for me has been deafening in Tampa because no deal is no news.
Skip, look, I got $1 million. I got $1 million plus incentive. That's what I got for you. Take it or leave it. Because I've shown you what you.
So far, I guess he's leaving it.
Okay, Skip. The NFL, look, even when Tom Brady leaves, the NFL gonna continue to function. They just signed 11-year deal with $100+ billion. So the NFL is gonna continue to go on regardless. With Tom Brady, AB, Montana retired, Emmitt Smith, Shannon Sharp, John Elway, Marino, and the NFL just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Ain't no player bigger than the NFL.
I'm still a little surprised, pleasantly surprised, that nobody except Tampa wants AB. And again, is he way more trouble than he's worth outside of Tom Brady?
Yes.
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 Okay, but I just thought one desperate team, I don't know, the Ravens would say, we can deal with him. We can handle him. We'll give him $10 million to be our number 1 receiver.
No, we gonna give you incentives. And the Ravens let you be you. But Skip, like I said, what they've seen is that when he becomes very emboldened when he has money because he basically gives you his butt to kiss. You saw that in Pittsburgh. You saw that with the Raiders. $30 million, Skip. All you got to do is just come in and do your job. Skip, how you don't make it out of training camp when somebody gives you $30 million guaranteed?
Yep, I got it.
But last year, last 8 games.
Yep.
Bruce Arians said, look here, this is what we expect of you. I need you to do this, and this. If any of this is not met, bye. Okay, show up on time, work hard. Because guess what, Skip? Everything is predicated on you doing that. But when you get my $10 million in your pocket, you get 15 of my money, you give me your butt to kiss.
I got it, but nobody works any harder than AB does. Nobody practices harder. He loves to practice, so he has redeeming value to me. That's why Brady loves him.
Well, the thing was getting his ass to practice at Pittsburgh, getting his ass to practice at the Raiders. He had no problems at Tampa. But go back and check his record at Pittsburgh. A lot of things that happened in Pittsburgh they didn't talk about. Go back, let him check his record at the Raiders. A lot of things that never came out. But guess what, Skip Bayless? One thing I know about this here. They keep coming out with Apple, the new iPhones, and I pay my Verizon bill. So I got phone.
You got a lot of phone.
Yeah, I do got a lot of phone. And guess what?
Why.
They ring a lot, too. They ring a lot, too. They ring a lot, too.
Okay, so here's the other surprise. Wide receivers devalued, but look at all the teams that still have huge cap money who are not spending it. Dollar Bill spent all of his in one day, right? But look at the Jets and the Jags. They have more than $40 million left. Look at the Colts and the Panthers. They have more than $30 million left. And they're just thumbing their nose at all these players.
It seems to me, Skip, that they we're going to go in the draft. We're going to get us a young receiver.
I guess so.
Right? I think the Jets are trying to see, is Sam Darnold going to be our quarterback?
Yep.
Or are we going to go with, Zach Wilson? Is going to be available? Deshaun going to be available?
We need to keep our cap open.
Right.
Yeah.
No mercy. According to Dana White, we have finally seen the last of Khabib in the octagon, arguably the GOAT of mixed martial arts. The undefeated UFC lightweight champ met with Dana in Las Vegas and reiterated his plan to call it a career, telling White that he, quote, doesn't want to hold up the division. So, Shannon, do you believe Khabib is retired here for good?
You know, Skip, I believe him when he said it the first time.
Yeah.
I know how close he was with his father. His father meant everything to him.
Yep.
And he said his mother asked him not to fight anymore with his father not being in his corner. And he said he promised his mother he would not fight after the Gaethje fight. He would not fight anymore without his dad in his corner. I took him at his word.
Yep.
So he says he's done. Dana has now said it's done. I know Dana did everything. Now, Dana can talk anybody out of anything. And when Dana didn't get him to come back, I'm going to take him at his word, Skip. I believe he's done.
Okay. Look, this man is his own man.
He is.
And if any man in the history of combat sports says he's retired and will stay retired, it is this man.
Right.
But when it comes to boxing or MMA, never say never because the money is just too huge.
It is.
He's only 32. So my gut feeling is be careful on this one because there'll come a day, I believe, when he will be back.
Well, Skip, the thing is with MMA, Skip, you need to fight. It's not like boxing where you can take a year off, take a year and a half or 2 years off and get back in the ring. You can't do that. You got to fight. And so for me, the fight that he wants, Dana White won't give him. He says, I want to fight George St. Pierre. And Dana says, nah, George St. Pierre is not available. You can fight anybody else. You can fight Conor. You can fight anybody else, but you can't fight him. And he's like, well, if that's the fight I want, you can't give me that. I guess I'm gone.
Do you know how huge the money would be for Conor versus Khabib, the rematch?
Skip, no, it was. I just saw Conor get shellacked.
I know, but it would still be huge money, and I think he would get shellacked again by this guy. He might get hurt.
Skip, Conor turned it into Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know.
He got to get better.
Khabib is only 32. I don't know. We'll see, guys. That is it for us. Great stuff all week. Enjoy your weekend. We're back Monday at the same time. The Herd is on right now. Have a good one.